Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Raheem here. Welcome. Brothers and sisters and brothers, this is the time of unprecedented trouble, and we're just at the dawn of it. It's going to get very, very hard, very, very soon. I want to talk to you about it a little bit today because most of us are unaware of what's going on. That's okay, but we need to understand it, those of you who intend to benefit from these times, because there are those who will benefit and those who will not. The believers and the disbelievers. The dissatisfied and the status quo. Status quo means those who love this world's life like it is. They don't want any change. So when you come and tell them there's going to be a change, they disbelieve in it. They resist it. They fight it because things are like they like it right now. That's, in a nutshell, what a disbeliever and a believer is. The believers want change because they're dissatisfied. The disbelievers don't want change because they are satisfied. And our enemies have figured that out. So they endeavor to make sure that our people are satisfied. At least think they're satisfied. They give them welfare, car, credit, free love, free sex, NBA, NFL, distractions, and most of them are falling for it. But we see what's going on now, that those things are quickly fading away. So distraction is setting in. So we see the cities are in turmoil. And they're going to get worse. They're trying to open everything back up because they see the danger. They see the danger. So they say, let's open things back up. Even though they know that's dangerous in itself because it's killing a lot of people. But they've weighed the risk. So they decided, well, a lot of people will die, but if we let these people become dissatisfied and they take off on us, that would be a worse situation. Because they have plans for you. And they need time to execute that plan. And they're fighting amongst themselves on how to execute their diverse plans. Both have the same agenda, so-called Republican Party and the Democratic Party. Just have different approaches, different strategies. And they're at odds with each other right now, fighting. But both of them have the same agenda, and the trap has been set. They just haven't pulled the switch yet. They're just not quite ready. But they're just about to pull the switch. And most of you are going to be caught up in it. It says will come as a snare. See? And the lure, what's the lure? The demons. Come on, brothers. Come on, sisters. We're going to stay here. We're going to make it back great. We're going to vote. We're going to get Biden in there. He's going to take care of us. He's going to take care of you. See, been telling you that same crap for 50 years. Been deceiving you for over 400 years. And you're still buying it. Because they look like you. walk like you, talk like you, so you trust them. They realized early on, see, the slave master realized early on that he was losing grip over you because he was obvious. Once Elijah Muhammad pulled a cover off of him and told you who he was, even the simplest got some glimmer of what was going on. So he said, well, we need hey, man, these lambs, man, they catching on, you know, because, you know, we wolves, we was coming in and laying around them and carrying on, and every morning they wake up and some lambs are gone, and they couldn't figure out what was going on until they realized we were wolves. We was the enemies. So they said, oh, we got to figure out a way because we still hungry, we still want to eat. So let's put on some sheep clothing. Remember hearing that parable? Wolves in sheep clothing? Think that's there for nothing? So now they come in looking like you, walking like you, talking like you, but they're the slave master's children. They was ones in master's house. If you understand any history at all, the only ones that got in master's house was his children, his black-faced children. He wouldn't let you in there because you was too dangerous. He knew their heart would be towards him. The only problem they had was they wanted to be recognized. They wanted to be close to daddy. They wanted to be recognized. Oh, daddy, I'm your child. You still see that playing out now. They want to integrate, get close to them, be like them. Our founding fathers, our founding fathers, our founding fathers, our founding fathers. Do I need to say it again? You hear them talking. We did this. Well, because it is their founding fathers. And they are part of the we. And they got you going with it. So that's why they had to come at you that way. And so you're lured into this trap. Who's running these cities? You've been voting for 50 years. What has it gotten you? You looked around lately? Look at Detroit, among other cities. Where's your jobs? The jobs, they ship them overseas. They ship your industrial jobs to China. Your agricultural jobs, give it to Mexico. And your intellectual jobs, right, went to India. What's left for you but jails and prisons? They fast automating the jobs that's left here, so where's that left for you? And you still don't get it. Because the Lord, hey, oh, come on, we're going to vote. They don't take care of us. And they haven't taken, they're the ones that did this. The Democratic Party. They're the ones that did this. And they're still doing it. They're building prisons fast. You can say prisons. Who did that? The Democratic Party. Those powers are all against you. Because they know they have to get rid of you. It's a very complicated situation. It's really not complicated when you think, when you really understand it. But on the level that most of us today, it's a very complicated subject. It's really simplistic, really, really simplistic. But on the level we are right now, our minds are so messed up that's complicated. It's like, 1 plus 1 is very complicated to a 1-year-old. And so trying to wake you up is very difficult. If you read about the Noah's Ark, what was the deal on that? Only 9 people were saved. 9 people. After hundreds of years of building that ark, only 9 people. Think about that. Because it said many went out, only few returned. And you got these scripties and demons, they're hard at work, confusing you, lying. They're saying anything they can, the Sunnis. Why? I mean, lately they've been out like, wow. I mean, it's like, they pop it up like gremlins. You remember that story, Gremlins, this little one found. They look around, there's a whole bunch of them. Why? Why does Sunnis care about you? They haven't cared about you for 400 years. They're part of the reason why you're over here. So why do they care about you so much? Why do they want to help you when they got all their problems over there? Why do they want to get you their religion if their religion is not helping them? Why would you want to buy into something that's failing? Is their religion helping them? The slave master's not afraid of them. He sent a cruise missile up there behind every 5 seconds. They should be thankful because they claim everything is the will of their God. So if a cruise missile runs up there behind, they should be thankful because they say, thank you, because that's your will. I submit. And send Adam, right, a thank you card. It's stupid. And they're over here now with their BS. And they don't go around Master's neighborhood. They come to your neighborhood with that stuff. Hitting on black women. Selling pork and beer and wine. Stuff they claim they don't deal with. Treat you like dirt when you go in their stores. Yet they're going to want to tell you about their religion. Elijah Muhammad said he would not give 5 cents for it. Even their own prophet says that their ummah, after the 3rd generation, he would have nothing to do with them. They would have nothing to do with him. He says, I think was 6/7, so like 80% of his ummah is hellbound. Means these people that claim to be following him, the Sunnis. And scriptees. Oh man, we got to go back to Mr. Black Man. No, we got to go back to the prophet. Trying to drag you back in time. Because they're part of the status quo. They're in the past. They're trying to drag you back to the past. They're trying to reclaim the past. Only a few would try to reclaim the past. Time moves on. They say history repeats itself. It doesn't mean the past repeats itself. That means conditions and times, you understand? Because the human condition doesn't change profoundly in any short period of time. I mean, human condition is a human condition. So every day you wake up, you repeat history, so to speak, right? But it's not the same thing. You're still going to eat, you're still going to drink, you're still going to, relieve yourself. That's what it means. But they want to drag you back 1,400 years. See? Time moves on. Revelations, you receive revelations from the God or the scientists continuously. The Quran tells you those who reject his revelation. So you're telling me there's no more revelations coming? What happened to the old revelations? What happened to the books before the Quran, before the Bible? What happened to the books before 10,000 years ago? Where are they at now? They're not around. They was revelation from Allah, weren't they? So why are they not around? Because it's not relevant anymore. Like the Quran is not relevant anymore. Not for this time. Find me the COVID-19 virus in there. Find the message of the black man. It's not there. Nothing like it there. They was all caught off guard. So if they know so much, they have this connection with the God that they say, how come they were blind to this? Totally blind. And they're still blind to it. And they tell you everything is the will of God, everything is the will of Allah. Nothing can die except with Allah's permission. And they push that down your throat, right? And then they want to walk around wearing masks. Why are you wearing masks? How is that mask can protect you from Allah, can it? You just said you can't die unless it's permission. So the mask can protect you from, because you can't die, right? Nothing can happen to you except it's permission. Why you need a mask then? That's going to protect you. If he wants you to die, is that mask going to protect you? The bullshit is just woo. So social media, that's where we have to talk at nowadays. But you talking about a shitstorm? Social media, whoo. That's what we have to work in, brothers and sisters. That's the situation our people are in. That's why I took somebody like Elijah that's willing to jump down in that toilet with us. You know, try to pull us out. But Elijah was a patient man, a loving man. See? Suleiman, you better read up on Solomon. Suleiman, he says he ain't coming bringing no peace. He's coming bringing a sword. He's bringing wrath. You better figure out who Suleiman is, because they got all mixed up. He's one that broke the seals. You know anyone who broke the seals lately? Do you know who that is? He's the one that got the book of life. You're not going anywhere unless you're in it. Because most of you have no understanding of what it says. You will not return unless you have a thorough knowledge of yourself. Most of you, 99% of you, don't have any knowledge of yourself whatsoever. You have no knowledge of self. Because if you have knowledge of self, you have knowledge of creation. How can you have knowledge of yourself without having knowledge of creation that you exist in, just because of? The creation is 100% mathematics. Mathematics is the creation. Pure mathematics, not something that acts like mathematics. It is mathematics, 100%. That's very difficult for some to understand. That's what it is. It's mathematics, 100%. Not something that acts like mathematically, but it's mathematics, period. Islam is mathematics. Mathematics, Islam. Elijah Muhammad taught you that before I taught him. And mathematics is perfection. It says Allah made everything he made was perfect. So that means the whole universe is perfect. I mean, everything in it is perfect, including you. If you're a perfect devil, you're a devil, you're a perfect devil. You have perfect swine. You have fire. Fire can be used either way, to destroy or to create. Everything is perfect. So death is when you're out of sync with reality, out of sync with the universe, out of sync with mathematics. That's when you're dead, because you know you don't exist anymore, because you're out of sync, because you're not perfect anymore. And when you start, your perfection starting to fade, that means you're dying. That's what death is. You're out of sync with mathematics, out of sync with the universe. And so our 400 year of oppression was 400 years of being in sync with the universe at the time. That's the state of the universe, that's the state of mathematics. We were in submission to it. That's why we survived it. As Elijah Muhammad taught you, the reason why the original man is successful in living forever, because he can adjust to any situation. Because he's in total submission to mathematics. The original nation is Allah, the Father. The Son is the current reigning God, which is Farad. That's the Son. He's the God that's reigning right now. He's the Son. And the Spirit is mathematics. And why is that so hard to understand? The Holy Spirit, because mathematics is holy. There's nothing holier than mathematics. What it calls the Holy Spirit. And mathematics is a spirit. You know anything that's not touched, or not anything that's outside the scope of mathematics? Anything? Name one thing out of scope of mathematics. Oh, here come the what do you call those guys? The metaphysicists. Oh man, what about love? You can't. It's the mathematics of love. Ever seen math? Ever seen a magnet lately? What is a magnet? If that's not love and hate, what is it? Opposite sides attract each other, love. Opposing sides, like sides oppose each other, hate. Fundamental. Nothing outside the scope of mathematics. The Bible tells you that. It says the Spirit is greater than the Son and the Father. It says to search the heart of the Son and the Father. Because it's the mathematics. Because everything, we are expressions of mathematics. We are mathematics. Everything is mathematics. Another way of looking at it is we're the consciousness of the universe. The universe is us, and we're the consciousness of it. But you got those people running around, have no idea. They're pulling crap out there behind it, calling it honey. And most of you are eating it. Does it taste good? It tastes kind of funny, don't it? Because it ain't honey. And so you're bumping into walls. Why? Because you're confused. Oh man, he just said everything was perfect. Yeah, it is perfect. Because you become a perfect fool. So, brothers and sisters, let's talk about a couple of things. I want to talk about this war. Because it keeps talking about this war. And it keeps saying, oh, you keep talking about this war, 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 war. It says that people be talking about war. But it said that'll be the sign of the Son of Man in the heavens. Right? When you see that. Why? Because we need to understand the mathematics. That's the wisdom. See? Force is the most fundamental principle of mathematics. Force. Force is the most fundamental. Without force, there's nothing. Nothing happens without force. Nothing. Show me one thing that happens without force. Everything is force, basically, because force is just energy. So it's just different forms of it. Everything is force. Just different forms of it. Everything is energy. Energy is force. Active. So when you understand that force is the fundamental principle of the universe, most fundamental, then you understand, well, put it this way, force and pressure are the same thing. Pressure is just force spread out. For instance, if you take a broomstick and that broomstick is made out of iron and weighs 1,000 pounds and you set it upright on the floor, it's probably put a hole to that floor because you're putting all that weight in one spot. But if you take and lay it down and spread out, then they won't because it's spread out over a larger space. What's the difference? One is the force and one's pressure. Same thing. It's just different, different aspects of it. And thought is force. Can you move your body without thought? So thought must be force. So it means thought must be also pressure. So let's talk about this war. Now, I'm going to try to talk about it from a mathematical point of view. I'm trying to connect it with the angel. Now, I've been preparing a presentation that will explain the angel and the total reality of our mathematical universe, but it's very difficult to do unless you really have some mathematical background, so I've been really hesitant to present it. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible, and it takes time to do it, and you have to have some basic background, so I'm not sure when I'm going to get to that, when I'm going to get to presenting it. I'm still working on it. But the scripts are all mathematical. They're mathematical books. The angel, 22 chapters divided by 7 seals. That's the fresh for pi, the symbol pi. You know, symbol pi, which is circle, completion. They're all mathematical books. So, we talk about pressure. That's our reality. See, everything is mathematics, but the pressure is mathematics. Remember I said pressure is just force, is the most fundamental principle of the universe. But that's our reality. When you understand the laws of pressure, it defines our reality. Once you understand that, that's the wisdom. Then you understand the Bible and the Quran, because those are the principles those books are based on, and I can prove it. If you have any mathematical background. So, understanding that, the angel comes at it from this point of view. It talks about 5 nations. And we see in the angel this war. It's not just, remember, the angel unlocks the whole Bible. And also, we can bring the Quran into this. But we're not going to do it here because that's a lovely issue. We could bring the book of Daniel here. The book of Daniel is a supplement to the angel called Revelations. If you don't think so, read the 13th chapter of the angel. See how it starts out. It starts out with the symbols that you only find in the book of Daniel. And there's no place else in the angel, just there. That's the 13th chapter. But how many chapters does Daniel have? Only 12. Is that a coincidence? That the 13th chapter of the angel is the actual 13th chapter of Daniel? Yes, it is. Anyway, it presents 5 nations there. Now, we hear from historians and everything, these different things. I'm going with the angel. They try to describe the so-called American Indians, as a different, no, they're an extension of India, from India. That's why it was called Indians. Columbus made a mistake, right? Because he thought he was in India. So people here look like, plus look like the Indians anyway. They don't look like they look now. Because they were dark-skinned people when Columbus showed up on scene. But they're just they're not a separate nation. They're original people, but they're a separate nation. We are original people. We are from the tribe of Shabazz. Okay. We are the head tribe. Okay, take these 5 nations. Now, if you understand the story about Yaqub, Dr. Yaqub, you need to understand that story to have some idea what's going on here. See? For the mathematics of the situation. Because you had the original nation, then in the original nation, they had 2 germs in the seed. That's very important for those of you who really study. Because if Ra hadn't presented like that, you could say right away, hey, something's wrong. So he knew what he was talking about. Because if we only had 1 germ, you could have grafted all you want to. It's still been original, just been a weak original. See? But if you got a recessive and a dominant, you got 2. And that's what Dr. Yaqub did. He separated 2. Because remember, it says, Quran says, Allah made everything in pairs. So he had 2. But they weren't personified. They weren't independent. They didn't have their backs, as the Quran says. So you only had 1, but it was enclosed in 1. Just like at one time, there was only 1 being, right? And then we separate that being into 2, a male and a female. But it started out with just 1 being. So we got to the point in our history where we said, okay, we're going to separate we're going to separate the 2 germs. And that's what Dr. Yaqub did. So they're different, just like the male and the female are different. They're not the same. You don't care what these crazy people are saying now, not the same. These 2 germs are not the same. They try to tell, oh, you're just saying. No, they're not the same. That's why you understand the history of Yaqub, to understand what's going on there. Not the same. 2 different people. Even Exodus says, read Exodus. I don't know the exact verse. I can find it. It says, God says, I want you to know I make a distinction between you and the Egyptians. We said, why is you make a distinction? Because we're 2 different people. We're not all the same. That's what we're talking about, man and mankind. Kind of a man. The Quran says, "I will raise a beast up that will speak, that was a speaking beast that will speak to you, a beast that will speak to you." So it's characterized as a beast. And the angel goes in the same vein, calls them creatures, but it calls the original nation said the seven spirits of God, but the other was called creatures, created beings who were self-created. So it says have 5 of them. Now I'm not going in a lot of detail here. I was going to show them the graphics, but I don't want. I'm not ready for that right now. Well, I'm not ready for that right now. Parts, 9% reason I'm not ready because most of you are not ready for it right now. So it'll be wasted trying to explain this with the graphs and things I prepared. It's like trying to teach calculus to someone that doesn't know multiplication yet. Not putting anyone down. But that's my purpose, to raise us up. A thorough knowledge of self. So we got these 5 nations. Now, I'm going to try to go this step by step without getting into too much science here. I'm going to keep it basic so you understand your creation. Basically. I'm not going into a lot of detail. But the Quran tells us that it's momentous in the heavens and the earth, but it come you but of a sudden. What does that mean? Ask us what that means. I have no idea. That means energy is coming back to the earth in waves of approximately 50 years. Every 50 years, energy. Why is it coming back? Because it's because the Quran tells you that all that energy you see out there, all of it, was at one time the atmosphere of the earth. Oh man, how is that possible? All them galaxies and stars. Okay, well, KV's been telling you for 50, about nearly 100 years that called his so-called Big Bang theory, that all the energy out there, including the earth and everything, in the beginning was the size of an atom. The size of an atom, everything. And then it blew up. Now, if you can believe everything was the size of an atom, but you have a difficult believing that all the energy was the atmosphere of the earth, think about that one. I'll go with the Quran. For a lot of reasons. We could talk about this a lot. Right? Anyway. So it said that then we rent them. In other words, we spread out the heavens. So we spread out energy out. At that time, all the energy was here. Can you imagine what we were like at that time? It was fierce beings. It was extremely hot. Because all the energy means all that pressure. And atoms moving so fast, much faster than the speed of light. Billions of miles per second in the core of the earth. Because all that pressure, the universe is external and the core of the earth was internal. All that pressure was, right? All that pressure, because atoms move around, all that energy moving out 24 billion miles per second. That means when atoms moving that fast, they achieve harmonic motion. That's what the Hajj is all about. That means they're not conflicting with each other anymore. Because they learn to, it's like an orchestra. You know, everybody's playing different instruments, but they're all in harmony, all work together. That's the human brain. See, there's no more heat then because it's not colliding with each other anymore. That's self-creation. But the being, right, but at that point, the pressure in the core was equal to the external pressure. They both had to be equal for it to stop. Once they come together, and at the point, they stop because the pressure inside is equal to the pressure on the outside. So then it stops contracting. The universe stops contracting because the pressure inside is equal to the pressure outside. But that means if the pressure inside is now thought, which is force, because nothing moves without force, and thought is pressure, and now it's achieving harmonic motion, and it's equal to the universe, that means is now you have thorough knowledge, you have complete knowledge of the universe, because your thought is the pressure, that's internal pressure, and it's equal to the pressure of the universe. Both are pressure. That means your pressure, your thoughts are equal to, that means you're God of the universe. Because you have full knowledge, because you have full understanding of the universe, because the universe is pressure, and you are pressure, but you have achieved harmonic motion because you are internal, and therefore your atoms move faster than the atoms outside. So now you have achieved harmonic motion, you have achieved consciousness, self-creation, And since your pressure is equal, internal pressure equals to outer pressure, that means you have full understanding of the universe. God of the universe. Who is the original man, the maker, owner, cream of the planet Earth? God of the universe. What is the cream? Cream rises from the bottom to the top. Right? What's the bottom of the earth? The center. So he started from the center, moved to the top, to the surface. So he made the earth because our home, our womb. See? But with God's universe, because we have full control, because our now understanding is equal to the entire universe, because both are pressure. So now we span it, and now all the energy is going out to make the hardest. What you think we was doing for 76 trillion years? Scratching our behinds? We made all those stars and planets. There's billions and trillions of planets out there that we made over 76 trillion years that's habitable. And we will be living out there. What the Quran says, a garden is wise as the heavens and the earth. It wouldn't be a garden if we can't get out there. And it don't take years and years. We get out there in minutes and hours. This stuff about you can't travel fast at the speed of light, we can travel at the speed of thought much faster than that. That's another story altogether. But many of you alive right now will live on some of those planets. You're the generation that's going to inherit all of this. Let's get back to this war. So we have these 5 nations. Now the weakest one is Yaakov creation. That's the weakest one. So when you have pressure, the idea of when you have pressure, pressures have 3 basic components. Temperature, which is speed, how fast the components are moving. You have the components is equated to the volume, and how much material there is in the pressure system. See, it also defines the enclosure. So, but it's the same thing. Then you got the temperature, how fast those components are moving. And then you got the measure of pressure itself, is the collisions, how they're colliding, and the intensity, how often the frequency of the collisions and the intensity of it. So you got 3. The components, which is the volume, how many there are, the population, right? Population, right? How fast the population is moving, how fast the population is thinking, and how much interaction there is. That's it. That's our reality. Anytime you deal with somebody, you interact with them. Some interactions can be fatal, some can be mild. When you talk to someone, you interact with them. You shake their hand, you talk to them, you interact with them. You're fighting with them, you're interacting. Some are fender benders and some are total wipeout. That's when you understand that. Then you're on the road to understanding how things work. See, those 3 variables. Okay. Now, if you have a situation, those variables operate on the principle of mass times acceleration equals force. In the pressure system, everyone has the same force. Remember that. In the pressure system, everyone has the same force. The only difference is the mass times acceleration ratio, which is also structure times energy ratio, same thing, just different wording. Because structure is a form of mass. Something more complicated or something less complicated. And acceleration is a form of energy. So everybody has the same force, say the force is 12, and they have a mass of 1, that means acceleration will be 12. If they're mass of 6, acceleration will be 2. If they're mass of 3, the acceleration will be 4. It still come out to 12. So in case of Yaakov's creation, right, they have a low mass. Say they have a mass of 1. That means the acceleration is 12. They have a lot of energy. They move around real fast. But if you're original, you have a mass of 12. That means you have an energy of 1. You have low energy, but you have a lot of mass. Very complicated. See? Because they think faster than us, but we think deeper than them. Get it? They think faster than us, but we think different because you move in the direction that you're thinking. See, this whole this whole society is based on their mind. This world is based on the grafted mind, extension of their mind, their culture, which is opposition to ours. No story there. So in that situation, that means that here on earth, that means they move much faster than we, and we're more slower than we are. The original people are the slowest people on the planet right now. They're not doing anything. They have less energy than anybody. They don't have enough energy to even maintain themselves or to maintain civilization. That's why we fell apart. Because as the universe expanded, all the energy that was used to be here is out there now. So we went through a 6,000 year of energy deprivation. 6,000 years of energy deprivation, because that takes how long for the universe, right, to go through the transition cycle from expansion to contraction. Now it's a contraction phase. Energy is coming back. Every 50 years, we get a burst of energy. Just go check the history. The first one was 1860s. We broke our physical chains. The next was 50 years later. With Noble, Drew Ali, Farad, Marcus Garvey, we broke our mental chains. 50 years later, in the 60s, we broke our social chains. And now 50 years later, we're about to break all chains. About to go free. That's the original people. But we had a dynamic there where we have the demons sold amongst us, so we had a dichotomy in each situation. Because in the first situation, we broke our physical chains, right? We had those that wanted to get away from master. They took off to the seas, got away as far from master as they could. And you had those who want to stay sharecroppers. They want to stay with master. Then you went to the next level, right? What was that situation all about? You had the Eurocentric and the Afrocentric people. Marcus Garvey wanted to take us back to Africa. Elijah Muhammad said, we need to get the hell out of here. You had the other ones, they said, no, we need to stay here. We need to get closer to master. See? They want to think we want to be more like massa. That's Eurocentric. 50 years later, right? Civil rights, right? Separation, integration. Two total different separate ideas. Integration, separation. Those are demons, master's children, right? They ones want to stay sharecroppers. They're the ones, right, want to go Eurocentric. They're the ones integration. Martin Luther King's people. And now you got the final. It talks about in the Bible, calls it the demons and the saints. It says it calls them the chaff and the wheat. It says they come together in the harvest time and they be separated. Because we've been plagued by demons right now. I have to talk about that. Okay, so we talk about this war again. So we see Yahu's creation. They move around faster. But that means they're colliding more. Right? So what's the nature of war? See, war is when pressure reaches the boiling point. Right? So a collision is very fatal. And it keeps going like that, right? Until what? What's the nature of it? You're killing people. You're killing components. As components become less, the pressure eases, and then the war stops. That's the nature of war. You're killing the components. See, you have so many components, so you got a million components. And so at that point, right, you got all that, they're colliding, because you got so many of them. So the pressure is great. Everybody's colliding, right? So it got to the boiling point, right? So what happened is that now you kill 200,000 or 300,000 of them, right? And so now you have less collisions, less interactions. So now the war stops. That's what war is, brothers and sisters. Pure and simple, that's it. And they know that's it. Because they have a thing called population function calculus that actually calculates that. And they say they expect it to happen so long. And in fact, they're kind of wondering what's going on now because they expect the war to happen years ago. But they say, well, it's because we got the atomic bomb, nobody's afraid to go to war. No, they are at war all over the planet. People are killing each other, right? They're dropping bombs, and they got the economic wars. Those are wars. You think economic sanctions, those are not wars? It's just a different form, but they're at war. It just haven't reached, you understand, the critical boiling point yet. But because when you put a finger in a stove, right, it hasn't boiled yet, but you still get third-degree burns. It's high enough to give you third-degree burns, maybe just not boiling yet. But we're fast reaching the boiling point. So what happens? Okay, at the point where Yaku's folks, they reach the boiling point, remember, you got all the other nations, they're the weakest ones, so they move faster, right? They have less mass, less structure, move faster. So they reach the boiling point before anybody else does. See? So when they do, right, then what's the next one? Oriental. That means they get more, see, because remember, each time when you get the pot to boil, you have to get energy to it. You have to put fire to it, energy. So energy coming down, we're at that point, and so now the world is being energized. So now you see the Europeans, they're going at it more and more and more intense. That's this plague is also a symptom of that, but I'm not going to that because there's so much things we can talk about. But that's what's going on there, right? So it's more intense, more intense. See? So they're going to energize. That means they're going to be, as energy increases, because we absorb energy on a 24-hour basis. So like all the energy is here, but you don't absorb all at once. It's like, every day you breathe so much air time, you breathe all the air. If there was a lot of water here, you don't drink all the water at once. I mean, you drink so much water a day, right? So the energy is here. Now we're absorbing it. So the point is, at what point does your energy level rise to the point, you understand, for Europeans, where it's boiling point. See? It's also rising for the Chinese. You see, they get stronger and stronger and stronger. It's also rise for India. They get stronger, stronger, stronger. It's also rise for Africa. So now, right, and it's also affected the original people in America. Everybody's a little slower, right? Because the mass time acceleration function, right? Because we need more energy. So at that point, what Angel is telling us, at that point is at the point where the original nation will have enough energy to form a civilization again. That's why it says that's a resurrection. Because we don't have enough energy, but we're almost there. Almost there. See? But it says all these things happen, because when the sign, that's why I said that war is a sign of Son of Man in the heavens, because when they go to war, that means they've hit the boiling point. But that's the boiling point for them. But for Africa, for the Chinese, right, that means, right, they become more united. They take control of Taiwan, they take control of Hong Kong, they take control of all those regions, right, because they're the central power there. They take control of all of that. Because remember, America's got control of everything right now. So you can't do that. America's threatening to go to war with them if they do this stuff, right? They take control of their own territory. So that means America is going to be at war with them too. See, it's going to be really hot. See? And then what's about India? I mean, India, same thing, right? They're going to want to take Pakistan back. See, because all these visions came because of Europeans. They want to take all that back, and also they want to take the Middle East too, because the Arabs are part of the Indian dynamic. And what about Africa? The continent's going to unite in the two factions. That's what we're talking about, these four winds. They're going to unite in the two factions, right? The Christian faction and the Islamic faction. You're going to see all this going to happen. The angels, all this happening at one time, happening suddenly, all together. That's why I said it's going to be a time. Unprecedented. You never see all this happen. All this happening at one time. But remember, the Europeans is going to try to be keeping that back system like they have it right now, because they want things still like they have it right now. So they'll be fighting all these different places because they're trying to hold it back, hold things back like they have it now. But these things are changing. So they'll be at war with themselves and the whole world. And that's the time there'll be resurrection for the original people here and the separation of the demons out. You understand? So that's going to affect everybody, but everybody in different ways because of their, They're different structures. That's why all these things happen at once. Once it happens, it's going to happen at once and suddenly. But now all this energy is causing greater and greater pressure. But who is the weakest in that situation? If you got porcelain balls, and you got steel balls, and you got iron balls, and diamond balls, right? See? And they're colliding. We know how that's going to turn out. Those porcelain balls, they're gone. They're the first ones to go, as Europeans. See? Because they'll be crushed. By China and India. That's what the angels tell you. Those are 10 kings. They're crushed by China and India. See? And then you have a clash between them and Africa. See? Africa's united now. There's two parts, but still united. And then finally, if you read Daniel, understand Daniel, then the final clash will be between Africa and the original people once we settle back in our land. That'll be the final one. That's a ways from now. So I'm trying to get you to understand the angel from a mathematical point of view, understand the laws of pressure. So when you go in there and study, you understand what you're studying. Because it's all mathematics. But you don't know mathematics, you don't understand. You got all these people running around talking. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. They're pulling crap out their butt and telling you it's honey. They don't know. And the thing is, part of the reason is because this notion of culling. Now I'm going to take a little side segue here. Culling is something that we've been doing from the beginning of creation. It keeps our nation strong and healthy and vibrant. That's why scientists write history, because they tell you what's going on and everything, so you can adjust. The books are designed for any time of season, and times change. We're foreseeing people. So if you see a disaster coming, you see a situation change, thing, you can adjust to it. You can adjust. You can prepare for it. So they give you the book, so you can tell, hey, this situation is coming about. This is what you need to do to prepare for it, and everything else. The believers, right? They follow it, and they're successful. The disbelievers resist it, and they lost. It's called culling, right? Because they're weak-minded, they're out of sync with the universe. So therefore, we get rid of them. So we keep the ones in sync, so we keep moving through time, strong and vibrant. They're lost out of time. And you see the same process going on today. Those that's trying to pull you back, they're lost in time. They will not be around. They're disbelievers. They think they're believers, they're disbelievers. Because times have changed. They're trying to pull you back to the past. Don't worry about them. Because they're out of touch with reality, out of touch with the universe. That means they're dying or dead. Because time moves on. It's not going to slow down for anyone. And those, the believers, they stay in sync with the universe. That means they continue on in the universe. That's what you see now. Oh man, don't listen to him. Man, we mess with black man. We talking. We go back. We gonna listen to Prophet Muhammad. They don't know. Okay, fine. I don't worry about them. If I comment on them, what any is only, you understand, for your benefit, to point out to you how ignorant, stupid they are. They're lost. That's culling. That keeps our nation strong and vibrant and healthy. That's a process. Now, oh man, you mean we don't care about the weak? And no, we don't care about the weak. Wicked comes from the word weak. Did you see the story about Dr. Yaqub, what he did? He got rid of all the weak ones. He kept the strong and healthy ones. Why do you think it says only those in the Lamb's Book of Life? How do you get in the Lamb's Book of Life? That means you have to be intelligent enough to figure out where it is and get in it. If you're stupid, you ain't gonna get it, so we don't want the stupid people. What them for? Leave them behind. They're out of touch with reality. That's why they're stupid. If you bring somebody back here, you bring the wisest person you would think of back here from 2,000 years ago, they'd be stupid this time because it's out of sync. I don't care how smart they were back there. They'd be stupid now because they couldn't keep up with this. The time has changed. We're in a new era. We're in a new time and circumstance. No matter how smart, they might have been the smartest person in the world back there. They'd be stupid now. Because they're out of touch with reality. They wouldn't understand any of this. And that's what these scripties and demons are all about. The demons, they're two different things, but the demons, right? Well, they're going down with daddy, with master, because they are master. They're his master's children. See, they are such a, their time is over. The time of energy deprivation is over. That was time mathematics was in their favor. Now, that's why I said Allah was in their favor, because Allah is mathematics. Allah was in their favor for 6,000 years because mathematics was favorable for them, And we would suffer energy deprivation. So we was the Lamborghinis, there was the Volkswagen Beetles. So there was enough energy to maintain a Lamborghini. You had to put it in the garage. You couldn't afford the lease payment. You couldn't pay the insurance. You couldn't afford all this stuff, right? So you maybe drive once a week. But that Volkswagen Beetle, man, he's driving all 24 hours because he doesn't need much energy. See, so he got money to spare. That's what Dr. Yaqub did. By making his creation, he made a mankind that didn't need as much energy as we did. They had enough, that means they had enough exposable energy to maintain a civilization. That's why it says submit to Adam. Because he had enough energy to submit. It'd be a bad civilization, but it'd be better. A bad civilization is better than no civilization. Bad water is better than no water. You drink dirty water if there was no water to save your life. That's the whole idea behind that. But now its time is over. So I hope I'm making sense to you, brothers and sisters. Try to make it as simple as possible for those who are Abraham's seed, who are inheritors of the kingdom. The reason why, the point is not, it's waste on other people. They're not going, it's nothing that you could say that's going to save Yaqub's creation. Nothing. The pressure is too great. They cannot withstand it. Period. You can pray for them. You can do whatever. You cannot save them. The pressure is too great. The time is going. Just like when the summer's over, the plants die. You can't save them. Nothing you can do. You can pray for them, whatever you do, because their season's over. They only had a season. Is that a coincidence that there's 24,000 years, right? And 6,000 years is 1/4 of 24,000 years. That means it's like a season. They had a season. Their season is up. Nothing you can do. Or listen to all these clouds, fire come, we pray for it. No, you can do whatever you want to do. They're gone. Period. You can vote, whatever you want to do, they're gone. They're not going to make it. The demons are going too. They're not going to make it. They're going with them. So we're not talking to them. We're not trying to convince you. Did you see any place in the Bible where it says, Jesus said, well, he's going to try to resurrect or try to save or regenerate or whatever? The demons, no. We got rid of them. Their time is over. The time of scripties are over. That's why he resisted. Let's read the message. We got to go back. Well, we're not talking to you. We don't care about you. We're not interested in you. So you talk about stuff you want to. Don't pay attention, brothers and sisters. If you see Abraham and you're moving into and you're going to inherit the kingdom, don't waste. They ain't. The only reason why we're talking is because it says my people are lost for lack of knowledge. The problem is that the issue with you is that how you get to the hereafter. Are you going to get caught in the snare, have to fight you out that snare? Or are you going to escape it? And it says a lot of you are going to be caught in the snare. Read Daniel. It says, at that time, those whose Michael shall arise for rod, he's going to, all those who found the book that was wise enough to get their act together, got in the book. Whose book? The Lamb's book. Who's speaking to you? Who's broken the seals? You getting your name there. That means they were delivered. Delivered. When? At a time of unprecedented trouble. That means they weren't delivered before that time. That means it's death. Is at the door. Death is upon you. It's not coming. It didn't say it's a time coming of unprecedented trouble. It's a time of unprecedented trouble. That means the worst time in history, right? At a time that they probably plunge a knife into your heart. That's when he saves you. Catch. Remember the story of Abraham and his son sacrifice? God saved him just before he's supposed to. That's what that is. See, because that's how. So we ain't got time to mess with somebody playing games because it's gonna be that quick. You have to get your hell out of here. So if you sleep, then you're gonna miss out. And that's what it says. It says, then many awoke that was sleeping in the dust. Then you wake up. And that's what we're trying to do, wake your ass up. Before then, because it says, then you woke up, but then some everlasting life and some lasting every shame and torment. Those everlasting, wait a minute, how everlasting life if you're not delivered? Think about it. How you go on everlasting life into the hereafter, but you wasn't delivered? That means you got to go the scenic route. You got to go to tribulation to get there. And that's what we're trying to save you from, brothers and sisters. Because nobody asked you for anything. This is a free gift. All these other clowns, they trying to talk to you, trying to get you to follow them, take care of them, glorify them. You don't get that here. All you get is information here. Nobody's asked you for anything. You couldn't give me anything because you don't have no way idea to give me. There's no ask you for anything. It's a free gift. That's the only condition. That's the only situation we're dealing with right now, brothers and sisters. That's the only thing that's going on right now. Try to prevent you from having to go through that tribulation period. Because many of you are not going to make it through it. That's what's going on here, brothers and sisters. I'm trying to make it as plain as possible. All this will happen at once. The energy is happening right now, but it's affecting everybody differently. See? All the nations will change as the energy increases. And finally, finally, the pressure will be so great that when you put components of pressure on enough pressure, right, then it achieves a harmonic motion. What the Hajj is about in the fifth principle of Islam, harmonic motion. Like I said, like an orchestra, right? See, everybody different pieces, right? Instruments, but they're all in harmony. If somebody say something, step out, you know right away, hey man, you be a week later, man, you remember we went to that concert, man, when that dude, man, well, that dude, man, that horn, he blew it, man, because you know it right away. But in harmony, everybody's straight. So that's what the fifth principle is Islam, the Hajj. Because you can have peace without harmony, but you cannot have harmony without peace. And Islam is truly the religion of harmony, which is greater than peace. But they don't understand, so they say the religion of peace. It's religion of harmony. Because total harmony universe. Islam is mathematics. Mathematics is Islam. Allah is mathematics. Everything is mathematics. Harmony. So once you achieve that harmony, there's no conflict anymore. There's no heat because nobody's colliding. Because everybody's moving, different type of ways, but it's harmonic. See, that's why the original minds is harmonic. See, the Jacob's grafted devils, right? Their minds are analytic, not harmonic. See, go look at the music. All this music in the world, the best, it's coming from us. And we're already affecting the whole world because everybody's dancing to our music, to our thoughts. And we just wake it up. Which things will happen when we totally wake up? We're already influencing the world. You don't even understand that. We already influence the world with our minds because our minds are harmonic and our music that comes from it. You understand? Because that's what music is pressure waves. When you talk, pressure waves. You listen, pressure waves. It's all about pressure, brothers and sisters. So once we achieve the world, there's not enough pressure to achieve the harmonic motion, and only the original people can withstand the pressure that it takes to achieve harmonic motion. Only the original people, let's say it again, only the original people can survive the pressure that it takes to achieve harmonic motion. The West, they can't. See, that's why they got this democracy and stuff. It's chaotic motion. Chaotic motion means you're going all kinds of directions. There's no harmony in it. That's what democracy is. Everybody doing their own thing. See, because they can't get to harmony. So when you put enough pressure, they can't achieve harmonic motion. So when you put enough pressure on a diamond, it either go into a harmonic structure or crushed to dust. One or two things happen. And that's happening. They cannot achieve harmonic motion. See? Because they're chaotic people. So they'll be crushed. But we can. Once we achieve that, there's no more war anymore. That's why it says no more war. Because you're not collision, not colliding anymore. Everybody's in harmony. And it says just get better and better and better forever. And every 50 years you get another burst of energy. Right? Every year you get another burst of energy. Every 50 years. Forever. So you're getting better and better and better and better. And those of you who survive this and get to the hereafter, you'll live as long as you want to. Because every 50 years you will get more energy and you get younger and stronger. Instead of decaying. Because the previous 76, 7 years was decay mode. Because everything was getting worse and worse and worse. Because the universe was expanding, so energy was getting less. We got less until it got to the point of energy deprivation, which we went through a 6,000 year period there. But now it's to 10 to life. The Bible tells you that. It says the whole creation was groaning. So now it tends to life. So now you keep getting energy, more energy. So you get better and better and better and better for the next 6 trillion years. Think about that. Just get better and better and better and better and better. Live as long as you want to in youth and health. No sickness, no collision, no anger. And you go any place in the universe you want to. Assalamu alaikum.